The 2002 iBook G3 is old enough to drive, but is it powerful enough to be your daily driver? Let's take a look. The successor to Apple's iconic clamshell laptop straddled an important transition from the late 90s world of OS 9 to the more modern, yet still very early versions of OS 10. While I can't recommend it if you want to do anything in today's world, the 2002 iBook G3 is a powerful and portable retro computer that outclasses any similar Windows laptop. The white plastic body does not look out of place anywhere, though the computer's thickness and weight betray its age. Packing an 800 MHz PowerPC G3 processor, this model iBook comes standard with 256 MB of RAM that is easily upgradable to a blazing fast 640. On your way to upgrading that memory, you can install a wireless networking card that drives you onto the information superhighway, if only I could find one. Distinguishing this late 2002 model from its predecessors is a Mobility Radeon 7500 with a whopping 32 MB of memory, which will come in handy when playing games, which is probably the only reason you're going to be buying this. In terms of ports, the iBook is loaded. A 56K modem jack lets you know this thing means business. Next to it is a 100 megabit Ethernet port, a FireWire 400 connection, 2 USB 1 ports, mini VGA, and a stereo headphone jack. And if you need it, the bezel has a built-in microphone. The screen is a bright and beautiful 14-inch 1024 by 768 LCD display that looks good from most practical angles. Battery performance is impressive. Under gaming loads, it should last at least 2 hours, though it will quickly dissipate if left unplugged for a few days. The system's biggest challenge is hard disk space. The 30GB hard drive feels limited considering that it expects you to share that storage between 2 different operating systems. But the truth is that you'll only need one partition. This iBook shipped with both OS 9.2 and OS 10.2. It's also upgradable to OS 10.4, but after playing around with it, there's really no point. As modern as OS 10.4 feels, it overpowers the iBook. All I could successfully do is play music through iTunes and type out a Word document. Technically it supports MPEG-4 playback, but I couldn't get it to play 480p video well, if at all. Likewise, the internet experience is severely hamstrung due to browser support. Most websites don't support its best possible version of Safari, so you won't be watching YouTube or even reading most of the news. You can Google something, look it up on Wikipedia, and on a good day, browse a weird-looking version of Reddit. So you can't do much of anything, and that's why you need to play to the machine's strengths. The iBook, like a few other Apple machines of the era, could not only run OS 9 applications via a classic environment, it could boot right into the operating system itself. And that's my favorite part of the machine. Most of my favorite games of the era released both on PC and Mac, so I had no trouble finding something to play. Anything compatible with OS 9 will play fabulously. Even Warcraft 3, which I struggled to play in the OS 10 environment, played well in OS 9. You won't have access to all the games, but it just so happens that most of the games I played in the late 90s on Windows also got Mac releases. The only game I had trouble playing was StarCraft because the PETA disk drive kept spinning down and then right back up to stream the background music. When this iBook first released, it wasn't meant to be a powerhouse, and I think with some distance between then and now, I think we can see the true beauty of the machine. If there's a game on OS 9 that I want to play, I'd much rather play it on this than a similar Windows machine. Trying to restore a Windows laptop would require the original backup media. Otherwise, you have to scour the internet for device drivers on another computer. But all you need to experience an iBook is an OS 9 install disk, and then you can play some of the coolest games from the era, except Half-Life. The late 2002 iBook G3 is a great, cheap, alternative retro computer that took me back to the late 90s and early 2000s, and I loved every second of the ride. Thanks for watching, and mahalo.